Am I the asshole for telling the truth at my best friend's wedding during my toast? I'm a 30-year-old male and my best friend got married last week. I just bought a house and my wife is expecting our son in November, so I let him know I was limited in what I could contribute financially. But I did tell him I would try my best. So I went to the bachelor party in Miami, I rented the tux, and paid for mine and my wife's dinner at the rehearsal dinner. I also had a gift of $300 that I was going to give them, but we will get to why I didn't. His fiancée at the time would text me multiple times a day with updates. Fine. I didn't always respond, and it got to the point where if I didn't respond at least once a day, I'd get a call from my buddy. She texted me for the following reasons. 1. My wife was not allowed to talk about our pregnancy at all. She didn't want anyone to focus on that more than her, the bride. 2. She was not going to order any special food for my wife. No one asked her to. My wife was fine with whatever she was going to be served. 3. I was not helping the groom enough. He had to help her with favors, seating charts, and programs, so I had to help him with those things according to her. 4. She said if I was a true best man, I would offer to pay for the bar bill. I don't even know what that means. 5. She had to read and approve my speech before the rehearsal dinner and wanted to be included as much as my buddy. She told me to make things up if I had to. I was not allowed to include anyone but the two of them, and no inside jokes or stories about my buddy that didn't include her. 6. Her last text said to tell my wife to keep it together and not make a pregnancy scene during the wedding. Also, she wanted her to choose a dress that downplayed her pregnancy as much as possible. I was just so aggravated, I spoke to my buddy to see if he could reason with her. He told me to just play ball this one time, it's her day, and to cut him a break because he'd be dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. The day of, all the bride and my best friend do is scold me, berate me, and bark orders. I head down to the bar for the drink. The bride's mother is there and warns me not to get drunk because I ruined her daughter's day enough. That was the final straw. I didn't give them the card with the cash, and in the speech, I used my friend's exact wording about having to deal with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I wished him the best and told him I'd always be there for him, especially during the divorce. So, am I the asshole? Yeah, you are, but good job. Am I the asshole for letting my daughter wear an expensive dress to my sister's house? Me, my husband, and our 15-year-old daughter, Georgia, went to my sister's place for lunch this past weekend. Georgia is very bright. She completed her exams early and is now studying more advanced material. She's a big fashionista, a lot more than I was at that age. She loves pretty clothes and outfits, and we're happy to get her as much as we can, provided she behaves well and keeps up the good grades. The lunch with my sister was fairly casual, but Georgia wore her new pink dress. My sister isn't as well off as we are, unfortunately, and she is raising 3 children on her own, and her job isn't a high-paying one. In the past, she asked me if Georgia could tone down her outfits when we come to visit because she doesn't want her kids being upset because they can't afford things like that. I do get my sister's point, but it's not down to me to police what Georgia wears. I've spoken to Georgia about it, but I left the final decision to her. Anyway, so we went for lunch and Georgia ended up getting into an argument when my sister's 13-year-old daughter Lucy asked about the dress and where it was from. Georgia answered that it didn't matter because Lucy couldn't afford it anyway. We told Georgia to shut up as soon as the comment left her lips, but it soon ended up with Georgia and Lucy screaming at each other. My sister made the kids vanilla milkshakes, and Lucy decided to throw hers all over Georgia, ruining the dress. Georgia burst into tears, and to be fair, my sister did bring her a change of clothes. I said that if the dress was permanently ruined, I wanted my sister to reimburse us. My sister has refused and said that it was our responsibility because my daughter wore an expensive dress despite being warned not to. The dress cost a couple of $100 and washing it has failed to completely remove the stains. Frankly, I don't care about my sister's warnings. We can't make Georgia wear what she doesn't want to, and it's not our problem that she can't control her child and stop her from ruining a beautiful dress. So, am I the asshole? Oh my god, what an asshole, what a bitch. What kind of sister are you, bro? Your sister's going through shit and you're gonna be like, reimburse me for my daughter's dress? Like, you could, oh my god, like, alhamdulillah, oh my god, what is wrong with people? What's the difference between you and strangers if you're gonna ask for money back for a dress? Like, chill out. Would I be the asshole if I called off my wedding because my fiance doesn't want my son to bring his boyfriend to the wedding? My son was born when I was only 15 years old and I've been a single dad since I was 18. It was hard living for a long time money-wise, but I always tried to do my best by my son. Today, I own my own gym and my son is now 22 and going to college and works at my gym full-time. He came out to me when he was 14 years old and I've always been supportive of him and his identity. I've been with my fiance for about 2 years and while she does come from a very deep religious and conservative family, she has never had any issue with my son. At least nothing she has ever expressed to me. My son has been dating his boyfriend since he was 18 and I've gotten to know him very well. However, my fiance told me recently that she does not want my son's boyfriend to come to the wedding, nor does she want her parents to even get a hint that my son is gay. That if they found out, they would have a complete fit. This really bothered me because I refused to ask my son to go back in the closet. What is going to happen in the future? What's going to happen when my son gets married himself? Will they want him and his husband barred from other family events? He's my son and will be the best man, and it will be unfair to deny him a +1 because her family has an issue with gay people. When I told her this, she got very angry and told me that I was being selfish and overdramatic, that it would just be for this one day and she wants a perfect wedding. I told her that this was unacceptable and that I was not going to ask my son not to bring his boyfriend. It's my wedding too and I want his boyfriend there. After that, I got the silent treatment for a day and since then, it hasn't been discussed again. However, it has left an extremely bad taste in my mouth and has been contemplating calling the wedding off. I do not want to marry into a family that would potentially discriminate against my son. I love my fiance very much, but my son will always come first. I told my brother and he said that I was being the asshole here, that it would just be for one day and that since my son is an adult, it's unlikely that he would have that much interaction with his step-grandparents in the future anyway. I still don't feel comfortable about the entire situation and I'm really thinking about calling this wedding off. Would I be the asshole if I did here? I was raised by parents who believe religiously and just culturally in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, mom should stay home and raise the kids. I'm the only girl and I have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation, I would just get married and stay home and raise kids. They never valued my education. They never valued my educational achievements or emphasized things beyond domestic skill. I'm the second youngest and by the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to the college of their choice, with my parents covering full tuition, books, and off-campus apartment and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother, and I was told I wasn't allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with a partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left. With essentially nothing, the only things I had were things my friends had given to me that their parents bought for them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on a debt, and struggle. My parents and I have barely spoken in years. I'm married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I asked them specifically what they were sorry for, and they wouldn't elaborate and just said they wanted to move forward. I said that wasn't sufficient. In the end, I decided that I would forgive them under one condition, if they were to forward me $100,000 for my college expenses, just like they did for my brothers. My mom burst into tears and my dad said I wasn't being serious, so I got up and left. Since then, I've been getting calls from my brothers telling me I'm immature and hurtful, and I don't think so at all. So, am I the asshole for asking my parents for $100,000? My fiancé and I have been together for 6 years and engaged for 3. We decided to wait until I finished with my PhD program for us to get married. I picked a beautiful wedding hall that I was on the waiting list for 3 years to get into. My older sister also got engaged and is planning her wedding 6 months after mine. At our family dinner, she recently revealed that she's pregnant. My sister recently revealed that she was expecting and was going to push her wedding date forward. And she put me on the spot at the table and said, I was really hoping we could take your venue. I really cannot stress myself too much with planning a wedding while going to maternity classes. And I think it's so beautiful and it would really mean a lot to me. I guess everyone is expecting me to say, yes, anything for my little sister. And when I looked at her, I had said, I don't know. I have my heart really set on this venue. She started crying and she stormed out of the room. I tried defending myself, but my mom said, you waited 3 years. Would have killed you to wait a few more months? When has your sister ever asked you for something? My fiancé is super upset and wants to disinvite my sister. And my family is giving me the cold shoulder. So am I the asshole for not giving her the venue?
My partner of over 3 years has been living with me for the past 18 months. We're in our 30s, happy, and talk about how this is it for us, relationship-wise. There's just one problem. He doesn't want to get married, and I really do. Marriage is important to me. However, after many long discussions, I realized that I love him enough to stay and take marriage off the table, even though I really want it. Now here's the issue. I got paperwork for my insurance a few days ago, and I made a joke about how my parents are going to be really comfortable if I die, especially in an accident, because of my insurance policies and the added accidental death insurance I have. My boyfriend and I got to talking, and he mentioned how I should really change my beneficiary to him. I said no, absolutely not. I told him I would never make anyone who isn't blood or legal family my beneficiary. I said I would add him in the future if one day he decided he wanted to get married, but as it stands now, my insurance will remain as is. I also told him I wouldn't add him to the title of my house without marriage because I bought it before we got together and I own it. Now he thinks that I'm an asshole for holding marriage as a bargaining chip. We don't have to get married, but I'm not comfortable tying my finances to him without it. So am I wrong here? I talked to my boyfriend and he seemed weird in our talk. He's been weird a lot lately, but I've been excusing it. He told me that putting him on as an insurance beneficiary was partially as a joke, but then when I went on my wild tangent and included the house title that he never even mentioned, he got offended and reacted poorly. He felt like I was retaliating due to the no marriage talks and he was left with a bitter taste, which I get. I can be more than forceful and I'm also naturally passive aggressive. He said I don't have to put him on anything, but he needs me to understand that I am it for him and he wants to make his life with me. Things seem better after this. That weekend he took me to a hike with this beautiful waterfall. Once we got there, he pulled out an envelope envelope from his jacket and a tiny bow on it and told me to open it. At first I was confused, but then I looked and the purchase highlighted date was circled with a heart. It was early August, and that was before our no marriage talks. Then I turned and saw him with the ring. I said yes. He said he knew that I would never believe he had the ring before all of this without the receipt. And he was acting so weird this whole time in order to fool me so I didn't get suspicious because this was his plan all along. He wanted a fall proposal. We'll add each other as beneficiaries once we're married, but there is no need to add him to the title of my house.